So it's interesting, I talk a lot about deliberate practice and sometimes forget to practice what I preach. I've been learning this Mozart Sonata number 16 for months and months and months. And I get about 20 minutes a day maybe on average to do it. And I've plateaued, I'm not improving on it. And that's because I'm not practicing purposefully, I'm practicing enjoyably, and that's fine. The difference between this really is that I've got this, when I pick it up, I practice this chunk I'm learning from beginning to end, which is the first kind of section. Now, that's enjoyable because it feels like I'm playing a tune. So most of it I've got fairly smooth, not ultra, but it's good. Sit down, I feel like I'm playing a piece, and it's really motivating and enjoyable. The problem with that is that I'm getting these sticking points, and I'm not honing in on those sticking points. And that's the difference between just regular practice and purposeful, deliberate practice. And it's purposeful, deliberate practice that allows us to excel and get to a world-class level, really. Because yes, I'm not saying I'm going to be sort of playing in the hour, but I know that I can learn this very smoothly, but I'm not going to if I just do what I've been doing, starting at the beginning, going through the end and playing it again and again. Because if you think of the accumulative effect of that, if I say I do an hour, right, in being generous, and I spend all that time going from beginning to the end of that piece, now accumulatively I've wasted so much of that hour with all that other stuff that I can already play okay. So the key is to get down. This morning, for the first time, when I say practice what I preach, I thought, no, I've got to kind of get this bit nailed before I can move on. So I mean, basically, each hand is. So I've got that, and then. Hang on. So it's that bit I've got to get. So that's the little trill bit, and what's happening here is when I play it all together, I'm mirroring this sort of hardness, this trill with this hand, so I'm losing my timing. So see, my timing's going out, and that's happening every time. So what I've got to do is forget about the rest of it for a session, have a few goes at playing it all the way through, but just hone in on that bit. So that bit's alright. That bit, see what's happening? The timing's going out there because I've got this trill here which I can't actually do very well anyway, so that's the other bit I've got to go back in. That's what I want. But what I'm doing is, when I go, I'm doing that. So if I hone in on that bit for like 20 minutes and smooth that out, then that'll get me over that bit, and then I can go back to playing the tune. So the point is, piano is irrelevant. What we tend to do, because it's more enjoyable, is when we learn something, we tend to go at the beginning and do it as a whole, as a kind of gestalt, and learn the whole thing. But if we don't do that purposeful bit of knowing what the goal is, well, the goal is to play the tune smoothly. So the next bit is we've got to be able to highlight, and sometimes that takes bits of paper if we're working on a project or a presentation. Highlight the bits that are sticking, get feedback, what bits are sticking, what bits aren't working, and just in isolation work on them. And then bring that back to the whole, to the kind of gestalt, to the thing, and that's how we get to world class. But so many of us don't do it. You know, if we're not very good at reverse parking into a space, we don't really practice it, right? We just accept we're not very good, and we'll get better one day, and we drive, and most of our time is driving normally, and only a tiny percentage is reversing into a space. But actually, if we go into a car park and practice that with someone giving us feedback, we can nail it in like probably 20 minutes sometimes. You know, it's that quick, but we need to do it purposefully, and we need to do it deliberately, and that is the difference between deliberate practice and just normal practice. So if you do want to get to a thing when you're way above average at something, because in my opinion a lot of things get more enjoyable when we get to that point, and I'm nowhere near it on the piano yet because I'm just having lessons, mostly teaching myself, is that you know, if you want to get to that point, you've got to kind of think consciously about your practice, and that's the point. So I hope that was useful. Have a good one. Cheers.